microphone so that the Zoom members pick up the sound.
Is this my?
That is your microphone, yes. I'm going to share the screen, and Debbie, when you are ready to start, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the August 12th, 2021 regular meeting of the Webster Groves Board of Adjustment. BJ, would you please take the roll call?
Yes. Debbie Salberg,
Here.
Scott Nixon,
Here.
Tom Waltz,
Here.
Randy Sprague. Randy?
You dropped off.
Randy's not on the call right now.
All right. BJ Papillo is present.
So welcome to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. Tonight, the description of the procedure tonight will be as follows. The city staff will present testimony regarding the facts of the request. The applicant will have the opportunity to present their request to the board and address questions, followed by those in favor of the application. Then we will ask for anyone who's opposed to the application to speak. The board will then close public session and open up for board discussion and decision. These proceedings are recorded, so especially with the masks tonight, if you're at the council chambers, we ask you to speak clearly and one at a time. We will vote on your application tonight for a decision. It does take 4 out of 5 board members' approval. And please try not to be redundant or repetitive in your comments. I would note that it does appear that Mr. Sprague is now on the call again.
Mr. Sprague, are you present?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
For roll call, are you present?
I am present.
Thank you.
I would note that if the city council chambers loses power, we will have to suspend this meeting. You can contact Danny, but under normal circumstances, these would be taken up at the next regular meeting of the Board of Adjustment, which is September 9th, 2021. Okay, BJ, would you please read the powers relative to the requested variances?
The board shall have the following powers. Powers relative to errors.
Variations.
Oh, that's not what it says. Where? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Powers relative to variations when by reason of exceptional narrowness, shallowness, or shape of a specific piece of property as of September 20th, 1956, or by reason of exceptional topographical conditions or other extraordinary or exceptional situation or condition of a specific piece of property, which condition is not generally prevalent in the neighborhood. The strict application of the area regulations of the zoning code result in a particular and acceptable practical difficulties to our exceptional and undue hardship upon the owner of such property. The board is hereby empowered to authorize upon an appeal relating to such property a variation from such strict application so as to relieve such difficulties or hardships.
Thank you. BJ, would you please read the first docket into the record?
The Board of Adjustment will review the request for variance on Thursday, August 12th, 2021 at 7 p.m. At the City of Webster Groves Hall, located at 4 East Lockwood, Webster Groves. The application.
Actually, the agenda language.
I'm sorry. All right. A petition submitted by James Hoptop. Did I pronounce? Hotop? I would hope you. James Hotop, and on behalf of Jonathan and Jennifer Bruner for an application for variance from section 53.078J, the zoning code of Webster Groves. The applicant is requesting a variance of 2 feet from the required 6-foot east side yard setback in order to construct a 1.5-story detached garage located 4 feet from the east side property. The property is located at 817 Tuxedo Boulevard within the A4 zoning, 7,500 square foot residential district.
Thank you. Mr. Billings, does the city have a case?
Yes, Madam Chairman, if it please the board, we would present testimony and exhibits. Initially, we would present to the commissioners a packet of information that has been previously given to all of the commissioners regarding docket number 2353. In addition, and I would move the admission and evidence of all those documents. In addition to that, we would have live testimony, and if it please, we would have Danny Genduza be sworn, and we will proceed with his testimony live today.
Thank you. Danny, will you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Would you please state your name for the record, please?
Danny Genduza.
And you are employed by the city of Webster Groves, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
In what capacity?
As planner
What are your duties as a planner?
to administer and execute zoning regulations.
Through your work with the city, are you familiar with the property located at 817 Tuxedo Boulevard?
Yes, I am.
Is it within the city limits of Webster Groves?
Yes, it is.
And what is the zoning district within the city that this property
It's
is
in
located?
the A4 7,500 square foot residence district.
I am going a bit fast. If I'm going too fast, I'm trying to get everything in before we lose power here. What is the applicant's request here?
The applicant is requesting a variance of 2 feet from the required 6-foot east side yard setback in order to construct a 1.5-story detached garage that would be located 4 feet from the east side property line.
What municipal code sections apply to this request?
So it is section 53.078 subsection J. And this time I want to clarify, in the initial public advertisement, I had a typo in the code section. I wrote 53.058 J, but the correct code section, it's the same language, and the correct code section is 53.078 J, the development standards for accessory structures in the A4 district. And it states that any detached accessory building with a gross floor area exceeding 672 square feet, or the building height as defined in section 53.020 of the zoning code that would exceed 12 feet shall comply with the minimum side yard setback requirements of the district as applied to the primary structure.
Can you describe the existing conditions of this property?
I forgot there was a couple of additional applicable zoning code sections. So the previous section referenced that the garage exceeding 12 feet in height or 672 is supposed to meet the setbacks for the primary structure. So that follows section 53073, which states that there shall be a side yard on each side of the building having a width of not less than 6 feet for residential structures. That would apply to the primary structure. And then also there is a side relevant code section in 53078 subsection N, which states that accessory buildings may be built in a rear yard, but such accessory buildings shall not be nearer than 5 feet to any side or rear lot line under standard size limitations, except that when
Ooh, that
Oh,
doesn't look good.
Hey,
Oh,
Randy, can you hear me?
yep, we can hear you now.
Okay,
I'm still,
power just went out, but maybe it's
Understood.
coming back on. When a garage is located closer than 10 feet to the main building, it also says that the side and rear yards for the main building shall be observed with the detached garage. So just wanted to reference those code sections at this time as well.
Thank you, Danny. And briefly for the board's consideration, what is the exact variance that's requested?
The exact variance is from that 53.078 subsection J, which says that it's required to meet a minimum 6-foot side yard setback. The applicant is requesting a 2-foot variance in order to build the garage 4 feet from the side property line.
Thank you. At this point, Madam Chairman, the city would move the introduction of evidence, exhibits, 1 through 7 with the attachments. And with that being accepted by the Board of Adjustment, we would have nothing further on behalf of the city.
Actually, I do. I'm
We do have
sorry.
something more. A late arrival. Add
Oh,
on.
yeah. So
I'm sorry.
I'm going to go over the existing property conditions and then what is being requested. So according to St. Louis County, the house and the existing detached garage were built in 1923. Here's a photo of the existing detached garage. It looks like it is in some rough condition at the end of the driveway. Here's applicant's photo, also identifying a rear yard deck in the rear yard of the property. It's not identified on the original boundary and improvement survey, but it's the measurement shows that it's a 4-foot height deck. So there's kind of a late piece of information that came to staff, but it would say that since the deck is at least 4 feet high, the new garage would be required to meet a 10-foot setback from the deck as well as the house, or else it would be required to meet the 6-foot side yard setback as well. So it was an additional factor of the lot conditions. There is an existing the existing garage is legal non-conforming. It was built before the code requirements, but it was built located 3.99 feet from the east side property line. It's identified in yellow on the slide. Today's code requirements would say a garage of that size would need to meet a 5-foot setback. It's allowed to remain in place as it is, but if it were to be structurally altered or replaced, the code says any new structure has to meet today's code requirements. And the existing detached garage is in compliance with its setbacks from the house and deck. It is located, according to the survey, 19 feet from the house and 10 feet from the rear deck. On the slide above is the applicant's proposed site plan, identifying the proposed detached garage in red. The applicant is requesting to build it 4 feet from the side property line, like the existing garage. The new garage would be, the site plan that was provided wasn't exactly drawn to scale according to the lot measurements. So the existing detached garage, the new detached garage would be located 7 feet from the, approximately 7 feet from the deck, and according to the survey would be 3.5 feet from the house. And the above representation is my best interpretation of what the distance of the garage would actually be and footprint of the garage would actually be according to the information presented on the site plan if it were to be to scale.
No, so Danny, does this modify this variance, or is this just going to be an issue of the construction of the garage?
Well, it doesn't modify the request. The request or the code requirements applying to both of these factors would say that the new garage would need to meet a 6-foot setback from the side property line. And they are, in both cases, it would require the 2-foot variance. So staff's determination was that a single variance would cover both of those factors.
But the fact that they don't meet the normally required setback from the other structures, is that a problem?
It is not necessarily from a zoning perspective, as long as they would be meeting a 6-foot side yard setback.
All right, so there may be code requirements that they'll have to meet, but there's no variance issue with the deck and the distance from the house.
Correct. The fire code states that the garage would need to be at least 3 feet from the building.
Okay.
It would need to be fire rated within 3 feet of the building.
Okay, thank you.
So if I could ask, are we expanding the garage towards the house, or is it just the same footprint basically?
Well, it is, the new garage would be expanding. According to the information that I could read on the site plan, it would be expanding closer to the house than the existing garage. The new garage would be.
So this is the expanded line is where the garage would be.
Correct. My best understanding reading the site plan.
That puts it how close to the corner of the house?
3.5.
My understanding is it would be 3.5 feet from the corner of the house.
And there's no, is there, if I saw this wrong, is there a driveway that goes back to there, or is this just like a storage?
I would let the applicant explain that when it gets
Right.
to their chance.
We'll come to you. You'll get, yeah, we have to swear you in and whatnot.
I believe they would be installing a driveway to the garage.
Does anyone have any other questions for Danny at this time?
No,
But it's only one variance, right?
It's only one variance that we're granting, which would cover both of the zoning applications, the zoning requirements.
And officially, it's the side yard setback
Yes,
variance.
correct. I do have some additional information to present though.
Okay, I'm sorry, Danny. I don't mean to rush you. Please go ahead.
So I do have the slides above of the proposed architectural elevations. They are seeking to do a 1.5 story detached garage. They would have a gross floor area of 720 square feet, the lower and upper stories of the garage. So the code says a garage of this height and size is required to be 6 feet from the side property line. A standard 1-story, 2-car garage would be required to meet a 5-foot setback from the side property line. In green, kind of marked on the slide above, it shows the buildable area for a 1.5 story detached garage. If the garage were to meet the zoning code requirements. The slide here shows the existing detached garage in reference to the buildable area of the lot. And this slide identifies what the buildable area would be for a 1-story standard 2-car detached garage.
So the portion of the garage that's closer to the street is not at issue because it's outside your green area. I'm just a little confused.
The portion of the, I kind of just wanted to represent the buildable area as it would be seen from the existing garage conditions.
Okay.
Anything of that in that red box shown on the slide would be non-compliant with the code, the zoning code requirements.
but just to be clear, the footprint's getting bigger.
It is bigger, yes.
Okay.
But the only thing before us is along that side property line. The 4-foot versus the 6-foot.
True, yes. The only factor you're looking at is the side yard setback.
Okay.
Kind of in summary of the details of this particular garage, it exceeds the height required for this particular side yard setback. It would exceed the gross floor area for this particular side yard setback. It does not meet the minimum 10-foot setback from the house and does not meet a minimum 10-foot setback from the deck. So that's kind of in summary of the zoning complications with the proposed garage. If the board were to consider granting the variance, staff would suggest the following items for discussion amongst the board. Are there conditions of exceptional narrowness, shallowness, shape, topography, or other extraordinary conditions to this property that are unique from the conditions also faced by other lots in the neighborhood? Do these unique conditions cause insufficient area to construct a code compliant detached garage or carport? Is it a peculiar or exceptional practical difficulty or exceptional undue hardship if a garage of this size is able to be built on the property that could meet the required setbacks? Is it a peculiar and exceptional practical difficulty if a smaller standard 2-car detached garage could be built on the property and meet the proper setbacks? Would it be a peculiar and exceptional practical difficulty or exceptional undue hardship if a lot is not guaranteed a garage at all? And do the above factors justify a variance from the minimum required side yard setback equal to the degree or number of feet the applicant is requesting? If the matter does not address the above items to the board's satisfaction, staff would recommend that the Board of Adjustment deny or modify the variance request.
All right. Debbie, can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes,
Has this staff suggested items been done before and I missed it?
It was done at the July meeting. But this is only the second time that we've seen these suggested items of discussion.
Okay. All right. Let's get through these quick because I've been on this board a while. I know what to discuss.
Okay. Who is here in favor of docket number 2353?
the homeowners have raised their hand. Would either of you want to come to the podium? Sure. We would swear you in one at a time.
Okay. Is this Mr. Brunner? Brunner?
Yes. Can
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
If there's no objections while he's speaking, if he wants to take his mask down, it doesn't bother me. If it doesn't.
I'm
bother
okay.
anyone else.
I'm used to wearing it all day at work, so.
I just want to make sure you
Yeah.
can be heard and enunciated
Okay.
into the.
Mrs. Brunner, would you please raise your right hand? We'll swear you in now too. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, please present your case.
Okay, one thing that doesn't necessarily have to do with the setback per se, but and I know these drawings aren't perfect to scale, but the 3.5 feet from the existing house it's going to, we've laid it out so it's going to be 10 feet from the existing house.
Okay.
Okay. The way it's laid out now, it will be, you were right with the 7 feet from the existing deck. That's about 4 feet off the ground. And the reason, and I guess the location of the garage compared to the existing garage, it would be the northeast corner of the new and old garage is going to be the same.
Sorry, can you orient to me?
North is up.
Northeast.
North
Yeah.
is up on,
Back right corner.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So those are, within 6 inches of each other, being both 4 feet off there. So the existing garage is 4 feet off. We'd like to do the new garage 4 feet off. It will get 4 feet wider. And it will get, I believe, 11 feet or 11.5 feet.
So the garage is gonna get wider.
It's gonna the garage is wider than the old one by 4 feet
Sure.
and about 11 feet longer towards the house.
I want you to present your case, but if I can ask you a question, why wouldn't you go backwards?
Well, that's my next point.
Okay.
So this
Just
wasn't
get
on the,
to it
No.
Your schedule.
That's fine. Feel free to ask. I don't know if I can show this to anybody that can see it online, but I just kind of sketched in. We've got a huge, like 100-year oak tree
Okay.
right behind. I didn't measure the trunk back there, but it's probably about 8 feet behind the.
Mhm.
So we're well into the drip line, which is the reason why we didn't want to go backwards.
Hmm.
And that's the reason why we've gone forward and kept within that 10 feet from the house.
And when you say backwards, you mean to the north?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
thanks. So I think the root of the hardship here is the 50-foot wide lot. Our house on the west side is only, I think it says there, 3.6 feet from the property line.
Mm.
But it's already jammed over there, and we come over to the other side and we don't have much room. And like I said, we can't relocate to the rear without taking out a huge tree. And we don't want to take it out. And I know Webster tends to appreciate trees. So what our efforts are is we want to move it. We wanted to build this garage as close up kind of to the southeast as we could. We didn't want to take a bunch of backyard with the buildable area back there. You'd have a big driveway coming across your entire backyard to get a garage in the back. And really, we took that area up front, in front of the existing one, because otherwise it was just gonna be driveway. So it's gonna be hard impermeable anyway.
So that was the question. It looked like there wasn't a driveway. You're putting a driveway.
It's
in there.
gravel.
The gravel.
Okay.
There's a hill at the front. You can, if you see on there, up to the sidewalk that goes to the front door is concrete. That's in pretty poor shape.
Yeah, I see that.
But behind that is gravel. And it was all the way back to the garage. When we stopped putting the car in the garage, we only bought gravel back to the fence there, which is at the back corner of the house.
Okay.
So yeah, you can, it's mostly weeds growing through old gravel.
Yeah, it was just a little
Yeah.
deceiving. I wasn't sure what.
So
what
it's
you
just
had
being
going.
used now for bikes and trash cans and lawnmowers. And it is, we do need to take it down one way or the other. It's rotted out on the sill plate and which is why it's leaning on that side. Let's see, the other thing is our neighbors on that side have provided a letter in the packet that they are supportive of putting a new garage at the same setback of 4 feet. Let's see.
Sir, so as I'm looking at your garage on this picture, where's the tree that's in question located?
It is,
Oh, it's the big one?
it's the
Oh.
big one right behind the peak there on the right picture.
It's right over the slanted roof back along the lot line, sorry.
Yeah, and in the picture on the left, you're actually seeing, that tree and then there's a neighbor's big tree that's actually in kind of by the front corner of our existing garage, but it's, 5 feet over the property line there. I don't know if there's any other pictures.
So you're putting this new garage on the exact line, side of it, where the old one is, right? Right?
Exactly.
The north line and the east line will be
Yeah,
the
the
same.
north line, which is, I'm looking at the garage, it's the right side.
The
Toward
right-
Toward the neighbor's property.
The right side, that's east,
That's on the same
same foundation line, or-
foundation line as the existing garage,
correct, 4 feet off.
which is 4 feet up.
And that's the same with, not that matters with the variance, but the same with the north. The 16-foot wide dimension is,
So if you went 2 feet into the lot, that would put you 7 feet from the deck that's out there, right?
actually, I think it's more like 5 feet, because if you, the one drawing said 9, but it would put us about 5 feet. And I don't know if it was in our, oh yeah, I guess it is here under the hardship of, we have an issue with trying to get, like if we ever wanted to get a Bobcat or something back in there to do landscaping, we're planning some landscaping back there after the garage.
Well, I noticed your lot slopes left, right.
Right.
Was that a factor at all? And
That's a factor in that we, I mean, I guess if you put the driveway, if you put the garage back where the deck is or something like that, right behind the house, it would be an issue with getting the driveway up there.
well, I took a peek in your yard. And I mean, real quick, I didn't want to look like I was sneaking around the neighborhood, but
Oh, Tom.
I just wondered if that slope might factor into whether the proposed garage is where it is being proposed.
So I think the other, I don't know how to speak to that part of it, other than to say you have kind of plans to create
I'm not saying it's an
your own-
issue, I'm just saying it's something I noticed, I guess.
Yeah, I think with our plant design, we talked about building somewhat of a little retaining walls in the back to help with that slopage. But another thing I think that we need to just kind of be mindful of is that our driveway goes straight. And when you go into a garage, you want to go straight into it rather than turning sideways after you've gone out. And so that's the other part of this hardship.
Sure.
We wanna-
Can you talk into the microphone? They may not be able to
sorry.
hear you.
Yeah, so the other, you may start over.
Sure.
So another consideration to take into account is the straight part of the driveway, and you go straight up it rather than curving in. And we're landlocked on one side by our house and then by the property line for the driveway as well. So when you turn to go into the driveway, it just creates more hardship rather than just going straight in off that 4-foot property line that it's at. We're also not asking for a 2-car garage. We're just asking for a 1.5. So
Yeah, it's a 1-car door.
1-car door.
I don't know if the pictures
Yeah.
tell that story, but it's a 1-car door, I think an 8-foot door.
Mm.
So it's not like we're trying to squeeze in a 2-car garage, which is one reason why we did try to make it pull it a little to the front, storage, without having a 2-car garage. And I think what she was trying to say with the twisted end, you know, since we don't want to move the garage back because of the oak tree, that brings it towards the house, and there's already going to be kind of a little hitch to get into the middle, because the driveway is all the way over by the property line, like basically right on the property line. So if we end up moving that 2 feet over, then that's just more of a hitch to get kind of behind the house and into the garage. I think,
Thank you.
I don't know if, maybe she said it
No,
better.
no, you got it. You summarized it nicely.
I don't think
Said all you have.
I have anything else.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience or online who'd like to speak in favor of docket 2353? Is there anyone who's,
The contractor has raised his hand, so I'm going
Okay.
to bring him over to join the audio. Jim, can you hear us?
Yeah, Danny, I can hear you fine, buddy.
okay, Jim, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I
You can please go ahead and make your case.
All right, obviously, I'm in support of this. When it came to the question before about moving the deck in behind the house, and the slope of the yard, there is a pretty good grade there, and the amount of excavation that would need to be done is pretty considerable. You go from a slope of, I think it's a 2-foot 2-foot drop across the property, or maybe a little more substantial than that, but you would still be talking about cutting the yard up pretty severely. So one of the reasons was to try to find the existing place where the old garage was at the flattest part. So that's why this position was chosen between the owner and the salesman. And it's a nice looking garage. It'll look good in the neighborhood. So that's my voice of support.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anyone else in favor of docket 2353? Is there anyone in the audience or online who is opposed to docket 2353? Hearing none and seeing none, I would close the public session and open this up for board discussion.
Well, just to start off the discussion, I think that they have a legitimate issue with moving the garage backwards, which was what I was first thinking with the oak tree. I think they're legitimate in not trying to expand it, and they're just trying to make it usable, and it's obviously in disrepair, so I find sufficient hardship is there. I think they're trying to make a minimal impact and stay within sufficient situation to make this warranted.
Okay.
I think
anyone-
there's I think BJ said that pretty well. I agree with him.
I would concur.
Okay, is there any other board discussion
Well,
on this?
I will add that I think with the narrowness of the lot and the slope of the lot from left to right as you're facing the house. In fact, they are trying to improve their lot. Tree does present a problem. I think it's a pretty legitimate request based on, they're using the same side yard building line as the existing garage is on.
Well, and I would add that they are hampered by the placement of the house on the lot and the oak tree. Do we have a motion for docket 2353?
I so move accept docket 2353.
And a second?
I second. BJ Papilla.
All in favor of docket 2353, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? BJ, would you please poll the commission?
Debbie Salberg,
Aye.
Scott Nixon,
Aye.
Tom Waltz,
Aye.
Randy Sprague,
Aye.
BJ Papillo, aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
this application has passed, so you may see city staff during regular business hours about your next step. BJ, would you please read docket 2354 into the record?
Thank you.
You're welcome. A petition submitted by James Hotop on behalf of James and Andrea Shea for an application for a variance from section 53.078G of the zoning codes of Webster Groves. The applicant is requesting a variance of 144 square feet in excess of the maximum allowable 516 square feet. Ground floor area allowed for an accessory structure detached garage at the subject property in order to construct an accessory structure detached garage with a ground floor area of 660 square feet. The property is located at 347 Old Orchard Avenue within the A4 7,500 square foot residence district.
Thank you. Does the city have a case?
Yes, Madam Chairman, if it please, you have previously been provided with certain exhibits from the city, and we would move the introduction into evidence of those exhibits as part of the record. With that being said, the city would present the testimony of Danny Genduza, who's already been sworn before this board this evening, and we would inquire of Mr. Genduza. Would you please state your name?
My name is Danny Gendusa.
Are you employed by the city of Webster Groves?
Yes, I am,
In what capacity?
as planner,
And what are your duties in that position, please?
to administer and execute zoning regulations.
Through your work with the city of Webster Groves, are you familiar with the property at 347 South Old Orchard Avenue?
Yes, I am.
Is that within the city limits of Webster Groves?
Yes, it is.
And what is the zoning district with the city that this property is located?
It is zoned A4 7,500 square foot residence district.
And what is the applicant's request?
The applicant is requesting a variance of 144 square feet in excess of the maximum allowable 516 square foot ground floor area that is allowed for an accessory structure at the subject property. They are doing this in order to construct a new accessory structure detached garage with a ground floor area of 660 square feet.
What is the municipal code section that applies to the request?
It is section 53.078 subsection G in the development standards for accessory structures. It states that one detached private garage with a ground floor area of up to 40% of the gross floor area of the primary structure is allowed.
Can you describe the existing conditions for the board, please?
Yes, according to St. Louis County, the house and the existing detached garage were built in 1948 Shown above is the applicant's boundary and improvement survey. The gross floor area of the house, according to the county, is approximately 1,290 square feet. And the ground floor area of the existing detached garage is 264 square feet.
And can you explain for the board the actual variance and what could, in addition, present your exhibits that you have in the packet?
Sure. So shown above is the applicant's site plan. I'll zoom in a little bit to show that they are, their site plan presents a 22-foot wide by 30-foot deep new detached garage. The proposed detached garage is marked in red on the slide above on their site plan. Here is the floor plan and proposed architectural elevations of the detached garage at 30 by 22. You would have a ground floor area of 660 square feet. With the gross floor area of the house at 1,290 square feet, the maximum allowable detached garage is 516 square feet. So they're looking to build bigger than what the code allows. Staff suggested items of discussion is whether there are conditions of exceptional narrowness, shallowness, shape, topography, or other extraordinary conditions unique from the conditions also faced by other lots in the neighborhood. Do these conditions cause insufficient area to construct a code compliant detached garage or carport on the property? Is it a peculiar and exceptional practical difficulty or exceptional and undue hardship if a code compliant garage of the allowable size is able to be built on a property? Is it a peculiar and exceptional practical difficulty or exceptional and undue hardship if a smaller standard 2-car detached garage could be built on the property? Is it a peculiar and exceptional practical difficulty if a lot is not guaranteed to allow a garage at all? And do the above factors justify a variance equal to the degree that the applicant is requesting? If the matter does not address the above items to the board's satisfaction, staff would recommend denying or modifying the variance request.
So Danny, in this case, the size of the maximum size of the garage is driven by the size of the house, correct?
Yes.
And that portion of the code has been in place for a number of years, right?
Yes.
I
do
mean,
not
we're
know how
talking
long, but I think
30 years, something like that. I mean, so that we don't have garages that are bigger than the house or, you know, or, you know, so the garage is considered accessory to the house. All right. Does anyone have any question? Okay, you're not done, right?
I am done with my presentation. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Danny?
I do not.
Done here.
Okay.
Do not.
Who's here tonight in favor of docket 2354?
The applicant is walking to the podium.
Okay. Mr. Shea,
Yes, ma'am.
would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Please present your case.
As you guys can see, board members, sorry, that we kind of have the not so big house situation that we've worked on very well, I think, with the size of our house, but we're also limited on storage, which comes to play with the larger scale garage we are asking for. Currently, the garage we do have only holds barely 1 car, and we can only really get in on one side. And it's really only usable during the winter months just because we stack everything and store against the wall just to get 1 car in, so it's not covered in snow, trying to get our little one inside. So I thought of expanding to a 2-car garage to get our child in safely and one on the way too on both sides. In addition to during like the summer months, if we have to park outside, everything pretty much exploding with tools, bikes, our And just the shape of the garage itself currently is really not up to code to any frame that I'm aware of. It doesn't have any double top plates with the ceiling that makes me concerned every time we go in there.
If I might stop you for a second. So if we're looking at the garage, you're not talking about moving right anywhere. You're just talking about going left, correct?
Correct. We're gonna move the garage back further away from the house to expand for a bend. We have a similar situations from the previous applicant, where there's a little bit of a bend to go into the garage, and we'll have to scoot
So you're
back.
moving further away from the house, not close.
Correct. We are gonna be 30 feet away from the house with the new construction. And if I'm not mistaken, we're probably roughly at 15 or 20 currently.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, no. And with the narrow drive that we have, we have to schedule or figure out who's coming in first or leaving the house for work to even get our child in. And it's a tight squeeze, especially we're kind of on the hillside from our neighbors, and then follow that. And we just kept the location for the new construction based on ease to the house, not keeping distance from our neighbor downhill for any extra water flow, and just enough so we have a view of our yard still. You see how much it takes from there that we can see, the kids out there, fenced in and nice and safe.
Basically, I have a question. Basically, the garage you're proposing is a 2-car garage with but it's significantly longer than a standard 2-car garage, and that's for additional storage.
Correct. Storage, yard supply, and a workbench, just for extra space so we don't have to move cars around. And the new construction will have the side entry door past the cars, so we have easier access, that no one has to squeeze through the cars. They can get what they need, just a much easier ease of entry for us, for our son.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Shea?
Did you look at 1-car or 1.5-car sizes and see what that looked like?
Could you repeat the
Yeah, I have
question?
no idea what-
Did you evaluate any 1-car garage options?
Did you evaluate the 1-car option, I believe is what he said.
Me and my wife work in separate places. That would be very difficult to carpool every day, if that's what you're referring to.
If you could speak in the mic.
Oh, yeah, if that's what if you're referring to, it is tough now these days for anyone to have a 1-car option. We work in different directions and dropping off our son to daycare. It just would be tight, and then it just depends, because I take my son to daycare in the morning and my wife picks him up at night.
I think he just meant 1-car garage design.
Oh, yeah, I would then it would just leave one of our cars out in the elements and if we have to switch by, I'm sorry, that's kind of what I was.
Is the height of the garage door, current garage door, is that a factor at all?
It
I
is.
say that because we've had a couple of cases where somebody had a truck and they couldn't get it too low. And I don't know if you do or not.
No, you are correct. That is an issue. I have a Honda Ridgeline and I cannot fit that.
It's too, the current garage's door is too low, is that?
Correct. Yeah, it's about like 7 feet,
Yeah.
if it's that. Yeah, we have the other vehicle we have is a Ford Forester, a Forester, and even that's the one that can only get on one side to open up to get people out.
Yeah, so the only question I have looking at this is, if you look at it, is this a side entrance garage? Like you come around the house and turn in? Because one of these pictures, and I'll show it to you. It kind of looks like you have to go around the house to get in. So this is the one I'm talking about.
Garage door is facing the front yard, right? Or wrong?
The garage door is facing,
I'm not sure what the piece is. It's not.
you know what, that is not our house. That is our neighbor down there.
Okay, so your house is situated, your garage is situated like this direction facing the street.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're saying like that's, with our neighbor down.
That's,
there.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's,
Sorry, I was a
that's
little
not,
confused.
that's not our property.
Right, that's what I was looking
I thought, that's the neighbor's.
at. Yeah, okay. Thank you for correcting me.
Sorry.
Did you look into a standard two-car garage, which I believe could be built within the size that is prescribed based on your house?
We were concerned about storage space, just that we're active, try to be active and have room thing, and thought with the lot that we have is rather deep. We thought we could, that would not be an issue. We didn't take upon the size of our home to be a factor on the size of our garage.
So I'll repeat maybe Deb, Ms. Salzberg's question. Did you look at or consider, as you thought this through, building a garage that would meet the square foot requirement?
No, we haven't drawn out anything. We,
Now, I don't know if that would be a regular two-car garage. I assume it would. I may be assuming wrong.
Well, it looks like it would be, if you divide the 516 by 22, come out to 24. So it would be deep enough, but it would not have a lot of storage, I believe, Tom.
Yeah.
Deep enough to hold cars, but not have a lot of extra storage.
No extras. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So without having to add maybe a shed later, that kind of was our thought process of getting that extra deep garage, rather than in the future try to find a place on the property for a shed. Just have it all in one.
Could I ask a quick question? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, so the setback from your house is the same basically as the current garage.
No.
How is the setback from the back of your house to the front of the garage essentially the same, or is it shorter?
I believe it's further back. It's going to be further back from what the current garage is.
Okay, and the setback from the side yard, which is now 5 foot with the new garage, is that the same as the old garage, or is it nearer your neighbor's property?
It's the same distance, I believe. Yeah.
It's hard to tell for me from the drawing. So fundamentally, what you're doing is taking your own property, pushing this garage backwards, opening it up backwards and a little bit toward the center of your yard to provide more parking and some storage space.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions for Mr. Shea?
No.
Is there anyone else in the audience in favor of docket 2354?
We have two participants that have raised their hand.
Okay,
I will,
want to take them one at a time?
yeah, I'm going to bring, you know what, Andrea Shea has lowered her hand, so I'm just going to click on Jim Hotop.
Okay, Mr. Hotop, you were previously sworn, so you're still under oath. Go ahead.
I was. I would just like to point out that this lot is almost twice the size of a regular A4 lot. It's 13,000 square foot lot, and we just wanted to make the best use of their property for them, and that was the driving force behind it, is to give them enough storage. Their house is rather small. They have limited storage in the basement, and you know, it's a small roomed house. So we wanted, the guys wanted to have some place where they could have, storage and cars. So that's the reason for that size of the garage. And I'll defer back to Mrs. Shea.
Mrs. Shea, do you wish to speak? I'm not hearing Miss.
Oh, you know what her hand is?
Okay, Danny, can you bring her in?
Yeah, just, I'll bring her over. I'm not sure if she wants to speak, but
Sorry, I am at home with our 4-year-old, so there's a little bit of technical difficulties between that. But no, all I was gonna
Mrs.
ask.
Shea, excuse me, I need you to raise your right hand and be sworn in. Do you
Okay.
solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
No, that's fine. I was just going to reiterate, but Jim already said it, that exactly the summary is, we just wanted to use the best of our yard, which is why we are asking to have our garage go further back, so that we could use up that. We didn't want to go more to the side because we want to be able to see the yard, to see our kids. And I will also note, I think it's in our packet, that both of our neighbors on both sides have submitted letters of support. And our neighbor, as you're looking at this screen, the neighbor to the left, I don't know my cardinal directions very well. They do have a 2-car garage with the same footprint house that we have. So whenever, at some point in their history of their house, that sort of upgrade has been made for them.
Yes, those 2 letters of approval are in our packet.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience or online who would like to speak in favor of docket 2354? Danny, do you see anybody?
there is none.
Is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition of 2354?
There are none.
Hearing none and seeing none, I would close the public session and open this up for board discussion.
Okay, I'll make a comment. The gentleman that just spoke, I think it was the architect, pointed out this is an oversized lot. The last case we had was a A4 7,500 square foot lot. This lot is bigger, for example, as I read it, it was 64 feet across and 213 feet deep. I believe that's what I saw.
Yes, that's what.
And I think, in my mind, that would be a circumstance that allows for a little bigger garage to be built on a bigger piece of property.
Well, I would point out that the city code bases the garage size on the size of the house. The issue, I believe, is that the garage and any other outbuildings are supposed to remain the accessory to the house, and so therefore the code was written to make sure that that the garage or accessory outbuildings were not larger or did not overtake the house. I would also point out that I believe they can get a 2-car garage within the code requirements. And that this garage is oversized for storage. And I'm not saying there isn't a need for storage, but I don't know that it's this board's job to grant a variance for that storage.
I think you hit on some key points there, Debbie, that I tend to agree with. I think you guys know everybody's entitled to a garage. I'm not sure about large 2-car garages.
What is, do you know what the size of the house is, square footage?
Yes, said it was
1,800.
about 1,300 square feet.
1294.
1294. So this is just, I wouldn't call it incredibly small, but it's a small house. I think that does make a hardship for them, particularly because they're a family. It seems to me that this yard is exceptionally deep and they're just looking to go back. None of the neighbors seem to be upset about it. I think it improves the property. I think it improves the property value. I think it helped the taxes that are collected upon it. In all, I see a plus in granting it versus a minus.
Any other comments?
I'll go back to what I said. I mean, what Debbie just said is true. We're looking for a hardship or circumstances that will permit the homeowner to exceed the size of the garage that's permitted. And I come back to my point, this is an oversized lot. And the garage is back 30 feet, I believe is what was said. If this was crammed up against the house, I can guarantee I wouldn't be saying what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking about at the moment.
And in all fairness, that was part of what the comment I was trying to make, is that this garage is no nearer the neighbors. It's no nearer their house. And indeed, what they have done is taken advantage of the fact that they have an unusually and remarkably large yard, but have taken the option of moving back and left. In other words, into their own property rather than anyone else's. And I think in many ways that minimizes the impact of the size of this thing, given the size of the yard and the distance from the house. I think it seems to me that it's a reasonable request.
I concur.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion regarding docket
I'll
23.
make a motion to approve the variance requested in docket item 2354.
Do we have a second?
I would second that.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Nay?
Nay.
BJ, would you please poll the commission?
Debbie Salberg,
No?
Scott Nixon,
No.
Tom Waltz,
Yes,
Randy Sprague,
Yes.
BJ Papillo, aye.
Unfortunately, your application has failed. You may see city staff during regular business hours about your next step or options. Now we'll move on to the third docket, 2355. BJ, would you please read docket 2355 into the record?
I will. Can we just take one moment to use the restroom?
Sure.
Thank you.
Or to organize our papers, as it were.
I guess the storm is over.
Good.
Well, I'm at home and the radar says you're going to get another shot of this.
Oh, great.
Maybe later.
Was it Sunday night or Monday night that we had all that thunder and lightning? I could not sleep at all because it kept waking me up.
Large trees outside the front entrance to City Hall.
Well, were we able to get out?
Yeah, no, it's not thankfully in front of the door, it went the other way, but
wow.
yeah, it's a pretty bad mess out there.
Yeah.
I debated about where to park.
Yeah, I did that, hopefully.
Did trees come down around City Hall?
Yes, that's what Tara said.
Oh, geez.
There certainly came down in my backyard.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, along Sylvester, a giant tree limb knocked down a house.
Yeah.
Well, I have a friend who lives in that first block of Sylvester, and she had tree limbs through her roof with that storm we had in July, or first part of July. I don't know that her roof's fixed yet. I hope she didn't get hit again.
Thank you. I apologize for that.
Okay. Docket 2355, please.
Petition submitted by Tara and Michael Galliana for an application for variance from section 53.063D of the zoning code of Webster Groves. This applicant is requesting a variance of 11 feet from the required 30-foot north rear yard setback in order to replace a non-conforming deck located 19 feet from the north rear property line. This is located at 5 Selma Court within the A3 10,000 square foot residential district.
Thank you. Does the city have a case?
Yes, Madam Chairman. First, we would move the introduction into evidence. All the documents have been previously presented to the board and have been distributed to you separately from this hearing. And in addition to that, we would present the testimony of Danny Genduza, who has previously been sworn, and we would ask him at this point to state your name.
My name is Danny Gendusa.
And you are employed by the city of Webster Groves, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And you're employed as a planner at the city of Webster Groves, is that correct?
That is correct.
What are your duties with that, in that position?
To administer and execute zoning regulations.
Through your work with the city, are you familiar with the property at 5 Selma Court?
Yes, I am.
Is that within the city limits of Webster Groves?
Yes, it is.
What is the zoning district for that property?
It is in the A3 10,000 square foot residence district.
What is the applicant's request, please?
The applicant is requesting a variance of 11 feet from the required 30-foot north rear yard setback in order to replace a non-conforming deck that is located 19 feet from the north rear property line.
And what municipal code sections apply to this request?
It is section 53.063 in the A3 dimensional regulations for rear yard setbacks, which states that except as hereinafter provided in section 53.170 et al., there should be a rear yard having a depth of not less than 20% of the depth of the lot, provided such rear yard need not exceed 40 feet, but it shall not be less than 30 feet. So in this case, the depth of the lot requires a 30-foot rear yard setback.
And would you describe for the board, Mr. Genduza, the current conditions on this property?
Yes, so shown above is the boundary and improvement survey of the property. The house was built in 1950, according to St. Louis County. There's an existing non-conforming deck that was built beyond the minimum required rear yard setback. The deck is outlined in yellow on the slide. That should say minimum required 30-foot rear yard setback that the deck is encroaching into. Here are the applicant's photos of the existing deck on the back of the house. The subject property is a little unique in that it has a private drive running around the back of Selma Court, and the homes are facing inwards towards a pedestrian path. So the only automobile access is provided by the private street, Selma Court, running around the rear of the home.
Would you mind presenting for the board your other exhibits that you have in your packet?
Yes, so the applicant is seeking to replace the existing deck in place. Here are the applicant's preliminary renderings to replace the deck. And the applicant is seeking to replace it in place at 19 feet from the rear property line. I have the wrong required setback. It should be a 30-foot setback is required along the back. But in any case, the existing and proposed deck are encroaching into that rear yard setback. If the board would entertain a request for a variance, would again ask if there are conditions that are unique from conditions also faced by other lots in the neighborhood that present a hardship, and whether these unique conditions cause insufficient area to construct a new code compliant deck, whether there is peculiar and exceptional practical difficulty or undue hardship if a smaller deck were to be built on the property. If it's a peculiar and exceptional practical difficulty or exceptional undue hardship if the existing deck is not able to be replaced, and whether the above factors justify a variance to the degree the applicant is requesting. And again, if the matter does not address the above items to the board's satisfaction, staff would recommend denial or modifying the variance request.
Danny, do you happen to know if the existing deck was permitted or did it predate the current code
I
requirements?
looked, but I couldn't find any permits from when it was originally built. But our permit records only really go back into the early 2000s. Anything beyond that, or really the mid 2000s, anything beyond that. St. Louis County was doing some of the building permits at that point, and we don't have records dating that far. So I don't know when it was originally added on to the house.
I know that the first time I was on the board, we had a variance on Selma Court. It is a very odd little enclave
Yeah.
of homes. But I can't remember the address of the variance that we held before. Does anyone else have any questions for Danny?
I have one just to clarify. The
Sure.
back lot line is where this bottom red line is, correct?
No, so the rear property line, the street actually runs through the back of the property.
Okay, so the back of the property is actually in the middle of Selma Court.
It's on
right?
the other side of.
On the far side,
Yep,
this line,
on the,
okay.
yep,
So their backyard is a street.
basically, yeah.
So are they looking to expand this much, or is it basically kind of the same footprint?
I believe they're looking to match the same footprint as the existing.
Make it one level, I think.
We'll make sure that the applicant clarifies that.
Yes.
Does anyone else have any questions for Danny?
No.
Who's here?
Danny?
in-
Danny, you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Danny, do you agree the deck is not much larger than the existing, or if at all?
It appears to me that they would be matching the footprint of the existing deck.
Thank you.
okay, if there's no more questions for Danny, who is here in favor of docket 2355?
The applicant is approaching the podium.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's a very small picture. Is this Mr. or Mrs. Galina?
This is Galena.
Okay. Would you please raise your right hand? And do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please state your name and make your case.
So I'm Tara Galena. I am one of the homeowners at 5 Selma Court. And as was stated previously, we live in a really unique little enclave in Webster. Most people don't even know it's there, but it is essentially 5 homes that are all in a little circle facing each other. So as noted, we don't really have a backyard at all. So when we bought the home, it was a big discussion point if that was a risk we were willing to take. And because the home had an existing deck that provided some outdoor living space for our family, we decided to do it. However, the condition of the deck is in pretty bad state. It is probably at least 30 years old from historical anecdotal information from my neighbors. It's wood, it's rotting in parts, it's coming loose. It's 2 levels, which is a danger for my little ones. So we're just trying to improve it, make it look nicer, make it safe. And as stated, it isn't going to be bigger than the existing deck that we have. I have included some letters from my neighbors on either side. We're all very close in Selma Court, so we all have to support each other. We take care of the private drive ourselves as well. So it is something that we all have to have buy-in on. But the existing deck does allow plenty of room for cars, Amazon trucks, FedEx, whatever, to get back behind on a daily basis without issue. So we're not looking to encroach on that any further.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
No questions here.
No.
None.
So I'll just start off.
Well, wait a minute. Don't jump the gun. Is there anyone else in favor of docket 2355 who'd like to speak?
There is no hands raised.
Is there anyone in opposition of docket 2355?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, hearing none and seeing none, we would move to, we would close the public session and open for board discussion. Please go ahead, BJ.
I think there's absolutely a hardship here in that the deck is rotting. It's there. I think it needs to be replaced. I think she makes an extremely valid point that they don't have any backyard to speak of. So that is sort of their living space. But I think the undue hardship is definitely that the deck is rotting and they're going to have to do something about it.
I would also say that the peculiar and exceptional hardship is that the Selma Court cuts off a significant portion of their lot, and therefore they have no rear yard as well. And this is definitely a unique situation in Webster. This 5-house enclave with the private road.
I would echo what you're saying. This is a unique lot from the standpoint that it has a street in its backyard.
Right.
And the applicant is not requesting to build a larger structure that comes out into the street. And they have a unique situation.
Does anyone else
agree.
have any okay.
Just agree with all that. Selma Court's a weird one.
Randy, do you have any other comments?
No, none at all. I think that-
Okay.
well,
Do we have a motion regarding 2355?
I would move approval of docket 2355.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. BJ, would you please poll the commission?
Debbie Salberg,
Aye.
Scott Nixon,
Aye.
Tom Waltz,
Aye.
Randy Sprague,
Aye.
BJ Papillo. Aye.
Your application has passed. You may see city staff during regular business hours about your next step. Thank you very much. Is there any other business before the board tonight?
No, there is not. I think I've said at several meetings in the past that I'm going to try to get you all the prior decisions that still need signatures, and I'm still behind on that. So I've gotten some of them from Tom and Scott in the past, but I will need to bring more out and try to catch up. So I'll be contacting some board members for
Yeah,
signatures.
if you need me to stop,
Well, you know, I'm still homebound for a little while, Danny. You're welcome to give me a call and come over, but
Yeah, same here. It'll help out.
Okay, other than that, we did receive an application for a variance, so we will be having a meeting next month. Hopefully, the storms and weather, allow it.
There were more.
I know that Randy, when I talked with him today, had some concerns about meeting in person, and I don't know if you'd want to express those to the group and how you all feel about meeting in person.
I'm more than happy. I can be happy to say what I said earlier. You know, I'm sorry, I'm a 30-year intensive care unit physician. It's not a good time to be meeting together with this Delta variant of COVID-19 right now. I'm really sorry, folks, but it's just not a good idea. Masks are nice, they help, but I have no idea who comes before us. And I honestly, seriously would suggest that we continue to meet at distance. I will continue to meet at distance at this point, guys. Sorry, I'm immune compromised. So I have to.
well,
I
I tend to agree with Randy that I'm not sure if there's not a big call for the Board of Adjustment to meet in person. I would prefer to continue remote meeting until we get this virus a little more under control.
Well, I think, and I talked with Danny a bit today. I do understand I understand the dilemma that perhaps the city council and the plan commission have right now, because there's a lot on their plates and a lot of people want to stand up in front of them. And I get that. But to be candid with you, I think the kind of meetings we have can work the way that they're working now. This is just my suggestion. And guys, I'm willing to go with whatever the majority feels on this, and I'll do the best I can.
I mean, I'm fine with the hybrid where people are calling in. I
Okay.
personally think people like to get up and make their speech in front of people, and I'm okay coming here.
Yeah, and
And if I'm the only one, that's fine. If that makes them feel better. I really don't care one way or the other. I just prefer in-person things, but that's just me.
Thank you, BJ. Well, you know, I had knee replacement in June and hip replacement the end of July. I'm still using a walker. So I'm not going anywhere but the doctor's office right now.
Yeah, no, I think the hybrid method works, but if people are wanting to come in, I'm happy to be the only one here. It's fine. I'll do the Zoom. It's not a problem either way. I just think there's something to having people come in and do what they want to, because when you
I have no issues at all with the hybrid model. I really and truly don't. I just hope people appreciate everybody's view on this. And as long as we do, that's fine.
I agree with that. Well said, Randy.
The immune compromised situation, but at the end of the day.
Chairman Salberg,
The group wants.
I think we're all on the same page there. This staff, and this is for the board only, sorry, Danny, this staff recommendation thing, did this come about? I should start with a mea culpa. I'm sorry, I've been gone a few months. So did this come about because of any specific reason, the staff recommendation stuff?
Well, I think possibly the docket where we had 6 and we granted 5 of them might have been one of the reasons why the staff decided to sort of remind us about the standards that we're supposed to be looking at.
Yeah.
That was,
I'm not
sort of
sure.
the way I felt.
You probably gathered how I feel about that right now, but my mind's open, and I have been gone, and I have been on excluding your previous time. Maybe I should have been there for some and helped guide. Maybe we can think about it further and talk next week. I am of the opinion we all should know what we're doing. If there's a problem, it should be addressed differently, and we should be able to guide the discussion in a manner that we see fit. We're here to provide relief from staff and the code where appropriate, and we should guide the discussion. So maybe I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. I don't even want to talk about it tonight too much because we all got to get going. But let's ponder that and think about that and talk about it next week maybe. And if we are doing something wrong, then let's all talk about that and figure out how we can solve that outside of being guided
Well, I
in that
think
manner.
one of the things that Danny had said at one point in time this summer was that he and the city attorney was trying to schedule board training, and possibly the whole board and the alternates need a little bit of refresher training to make sure that the new members understand the kind of hardships that we're supposed to take into account. Scott, you've certainly been on the board long enough that you may not need that refresher course, but
Right.
we have several new members.
Yeah. I'd be happy to participate in that training, or even talk amongst ourselves or something. I know we're not that's not part of the roles, but if there is training needed, let's do it. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Maybe a training session for the board is definitely in order.
I
got no problem with that.
I would very much prefer that to these statements that we got tonight. When I joined the board, I wasn't sure what to do. I called the city attorney, and he was happy to, and he spoke with me for the better part of an hour and a half, explaining what our job was. Let me tell you, folks, that really helped a lot. I got it clear. I think we need to maybe all do that together so we can all be on the same page.
Right.
Okay.
I know that in the past, we had board and commission training. Sometimes it would be a number of boards together, but I think the Board of Adjustment is so unique.
Yeah.
We need our own training.
I do too. I agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more.
Okay, I don't want to belabor it. Thank you for humoring me,
Oh,
Chairwoman
no,
Butler.
Scott, I think you make an excellent point. Thank you.
All right. Good talking, guys.
All right. So we'll adjourn and we'll see everyone hopefully in September.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Good.
good
Have
luck.
a good night.
Feel better.
Yes, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
No.